When reflecting upon the basic principles of natural law, perform no bodily harm, no loss or damage to property or possession, commit no fraud, and keep the peace. We are designed to prosper and find peace and harmony through the expressing and the embodying of these principles. And when somebody comes and abuses our body, destroys our possessions, betrays our trust, performing fraud against us, or simply breaks the peace, disrupts the peace. Keeping the peace has to be said because the first three are basically understood. But if somebody's going about their own business, throwing a rock down into the waterfall, which they're free to do, but now it turns out that that waterfall, that rock is creating a domino effect which is adding up and now disrupting the peace. We have to sit down and have a conversation about it. But all dynamics of human interaction on every level and the natural kingdom come down to natural law. That's where peace and harmony begins and can then begin to expand outwards upon. Our predisposition for this then falls into the thriving and the prospering of every creative project, meaning when children are born, they go about creating and structuring an entire perception of the world and their place in it. That's why they are so obsessed with questioning everything, with what would be the 5 W's and the 1 H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Mum, what is this? What is that? What's this called? It's a tree. Why does it grow upwards? Why does it have leaves? What are branches? What's the sun? Why does it rise in the morning? Why does it set in the evening? Why is it yellow and orange? Why does it give off heat? Why does light shine? Why is it dark at night? Everything. Mum, why were you crying? Dad, why were you shouting? Why was this person not invited to dinner? Why did this? And we only ask that we receive genuine, authentic information based on the questions we ask. And if our parents don't know, or the people we ask don't know, that's fine. As long as we authentically say, I'm not sure, or you're not at an age where I'm willing to disclose that to you right now, or etc., etc. But to receive false, distorting, deceptive, and fraudulent information is a betrayal of our natural design. And that's why children naturally grow up with a tendency to resent and rebel against their parents once they start to realize, come of an age where they realize that a lot of the information received was false and fraudulent, and it was told to us just so that our parents would have an easier job, so that we'd finish our vegetables, go to sleep earlier, finish our homework, stop asking questions, and essentially behave ourselves. There is always a path to get a child to perform its highest task and behave through the expression of sincerity and authenticity. And that is a path worth walking. When we realize that we've been fed deceptive and twisted information, we naturally are allergic to this very concept. It makes us feel angry, frustrated, and then leads to resentment. And it's easy to understand why. It is a big, wide world filled with dangers, marvels, mysteries, many different environments, jungles, deserts, oceans, plains to traverse. And therefore the most accurate information received on every level of how human beings operate, their intentions, the natural world, the physical, biochemical laws, that we can begin to formulate and place pillars around and extrapolate outwards upon, is going to give us the best advantage and ability to navigate this labyrinth of electromagnetic interactions. It is a very mysterious and complicated world out there, and so if we are fed deceptive information from a young age, Our parents may think it's harmless. The people around us may think it's harmless by telling us a small lie here, a small lie there, as to how the world works, as to how Santa Claus and his reindeers fly across the sky. But that gives us pillars of understanding that we then start to extrapolate, and then if that can work like that, Santa Claus can fly on his sleigh and, oh no, I wasn't crying, and oh, you didn't hear me do this, and I wasn't angry because blah blah. Oh, he was. I start formulating and constructing a twisted and distorted view of how the world functions. Therefore, as I grow up, despite my best motivations and intentions, I'm going to end up arriving at an unsatisfactory, undesired destination because I'm operating with a dysfunctional map and compass of the world I inhabit. It's leading me in the wrong direction because I'm not perceiving the correct world, and I'm not perceiving an accurate reading of how I should go about navigating it. Therefore, deeply ingrained in my natural programming is to feel anger, resentment, and a disconnecting away from people who I considered trustworthy and gave my vulnerability to, once I learned that they were deceptive and feeding me false information. It leads to the greatest heartache, mental breakdowns, when you discover that your partner was lying to you, was cheating on you, because we had an accordance. I thought this is the way the world works. I was trusting the information received, and it turns out that wasn't the case, and you were lying to me at my expense for your gain. And whether that is a partner, a loved one, a friend taking advantage, or a parent merely looking to make their job easier and get some peace and quiet by making you shut up and go to your room by telling you a lie that you're then seem to be happy with, it erodes and fractures the very pillars of peace and harmony and trust on every level of dynamic and interaction. Love is not the highest vibration. Authenticity is. All that anybody asks and will respect is that we give the most sincere and authentic answer and information we can on that level, based on our current level of consciousness and the answer that we can muster. That's all we ask. Sincerity. So again, we understand how the 4 pillars, the 4 principles of natural law are essential and paramount and provide the cornerstone to health, prosperity, peace, and thriving on every level of dynamic and structured existence. We are beings built to embody these concepts and notions. And so, in a future video, I'm just going to outline now. I believe it's hard to answer the questions of children and loved ones who are attempting to formulate and construct a view of the entire fabric of the universe and their place in it. And it can be overwhelming, and it can be tempting to just give them answers that make them happy and stop them questioning, even if they are small little white lies here and there. It can't cause much harm. And so I want to bring our attention to the 7 Hermetic principles, as they are the highest, most collectively sound pillars of universal function and law that we can integrate and give and ourselves and our children and the people around us, so that they can operate and structure a sound and stable understanding of the world and how it functions, and so they can navigate with an accurate map and compass as they traverse through the great unknown. The 7 Hermetic principles: the principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of duality, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. I'll be breaking these down in my next video, as to their importance and how they give us the sound, structured, unbreakable, dependable understanding and perception to base our entire reasoning of the world around, so that we can accurately navigate through this world and find our purpose in life.